And now, rather than just run and build, because we still don't have any code, we're going to go to File, Write Class File. Now File Merger is going to pop up. Oops, forgot one important thing. The last thing you want to be selected on is your Hello World View controller in the Classes tab of the library window. That way, that's basically so that Interface Builder knows which class you're trying to write the file for. So again, File, Write Class Files. See Hello World View controller. We're going to say Save. It's going to ask you to replace or merge. Safe bet always is to merge. That way you know that if you added code yourself previous to this, it's not going to overwrite any of that code. If you hit replace, it's just going to simply take what you did in Interface Builder and drop, basically replace, as it says, the file with the one that you're writing now. Use that to replace the old code. So we're going to merge. Now we should get two windows popping up in the file merger. And this is your .m, as I said before. It's where you're going to do your actual method writing of the code. And as you can see, we've got arrows here that are pointing over to the right. This is your old set of code. This is your new code. What we want to do is we want to point using the arrows on your keyboard to the left. Whatever you point at is what you're going to keep. And so we want to keep this frame of the method that Interface Builder is trying to write for us. We want to keep that because we just made those connections with the outlets and the actions. So we want to keep that. This is just extra space, so I don't really want to keep that. Close, you hit save, and now here's your .h, your header file that has all your instances for objects declared. We want to keep those for our outlets, as well as the header for our method. So we're keeping both of those, and now it's going to merge those files and write them for us. So now when we go back into Xcode, if you look at your Hello World View Controller.h, here's that code that we just told File Merger to keep for us, and the same thing with the .m. And we can go ahead and run this again in the Interface Builder. And again, still nothing happens when we click because we haven't told the code what to do. We haven't told this application what we want to have happen on that button click. So, because it's going to show the text and then it's going to hide the text again, we need an if statement. So we start out with if, and it's nice that Xcode has this IntelliSense to kind of place the framework for you into the code, kind of lead you along, hold your hand a little bit. But so we've got if the action label, the property hidden equal, that's comparing, is yes, so it's saying if it's hidden, then we want to take the action label, again the same property of hidden, and set it to no. That way it shows it. And likewise, because we want both cases, we want to show it and then we want to hide it, in the else statement, very similar line of code, action label.hidden equal yes. This will hide it for us. So now we go ahead and make sure that if you're saving your files, you're actually in the code, especially if you're using the hotkey Apple S to save. Because as you can see, I add a little bit of space and our .m kind of image here turns gray, but when you save it, it goes back to being right, and that's kind of an indication as to when a file has been altered but not yet saved. And anytime that you try to build and run, it's always going to ask you if you want to save those files before you run. So another little safe catch that Xcode has. So now we've got our application. When we push the text or the button, we see hello iPhone world. We push it again, it goes away. Now the only problem that I would see with this, we want to make it a little bit cleaner, is that this button isn't going to do what it says it's going to do when you push it, when we already have our hello iPhone world label showing. We want to be able to manipulate the title property of this button so that it will change to say push to hide text, and it will change each time as you push the button to be the appropriate the appropriate description for its action. So let's go back into Xcode. We're still in our .m file, and here we're going to call a method of the UIButton class, but we're going to do the action button, and the method set title. As you can see, again, it's kind of leading us along with what the method is and how to fill out the different parameters of the method. We're going to call it. We're going to go ahead and use a string, which is an Objective-C declared with an at sign with open quotation, and we're going to say push to hide text, close quotation. And we need to set the UI controller state to normal. And sorry, I mistyped that. UI control state to normal. Close the bracket and semicolon to end that line of code. As you can see, there's a difference in syntax here between when you're manipulating a property directly and then when you're calling a method of an object being started with the open bracket. That's just how Objective-C works. But it's always good to make note of the differences in syntax for manipulating properties different ways. So we're going to call the same method again in the else statement, only we're going to change it back to the original text for push to show text. And again, UI control state is going to be normal and close. Go ahead and save your .m. We're going to build and run, and now this should be the final build for our application to be where we want it to be. A nice simple hello world app. So we push it. As you can see, the label is made visible again, or unhidden, and now the text, the title of our button, changed to push to hide text, which is exactly what it's going to do when we push it again. And then again, it changes to push to show text because we don't see the hello iPhone world. So this is a simple hello world application for the iPhone 4. Hopefully, it's a good start as for all of you that want to develop in the iPhone world, and hopefully I'll have more tutorials in the future. Thanks.